Hi again, it's Tim with another Michel Jarre video. I won't be doing all Jarre videos, on my YouTube channel, but given it's something that's run throughout most of my life, I will do a Jarre talky thing every now and then. Okay, so I've just talked about my frustrations at the postponed Destination Docklands concert in 1988 with a piece of school writing that I did at the time. And then the next year, I followed that up with a write-up about Destination Docklands, the concert itself, dated 27th of something, 89. And if you can see, I've hole punched right where the date is, so I can't see which month. But anyway, so I've got three sides of writing here. A little cut out. I think it must be from the Radio Times at the time. Just here, and a souvenir of the enclosure plan for the concert, and the Thames barrier in the background, the Albert and Victoria docks there, and I think this is where the exhibition centre is down here on the bottom right hand side for me. So anyway, so here we are. This is my review. I've just pulled it apart. No, I haven't. That's the old one there. Yes, I have. This is my review of the Destination Docklands concert. The Jean-Michel Jarre concert, part 2. At last, the day had arrived. Saturday, the 8th of October, 1988. The day that Jean-Michel Jarre was to do the first concert in London's Docklands. I woke at 6:30 a.m. to do my paper round, and was horrified to see in the Daily Mirror that there was still a possibility that the concert might not go ahead, as some councillors still thought that one of the grandstands was unsafe. I completed my paper round and then went home around 7:30 to wash and then to wake my brother, who was doing the driving. At 8:30 the car was running and we set off to pick up Lee, Paul and Mark en route. By 9:15 we had picked up everyone and we were well on our way to Heathrow Airport. That's to say, we were travelling from rural Dorset in southwest of England on the south coast, so we had about 100 and something odd miles to get up to Heathrow, and we're going to park at Heathrow and then go across the tube. We stopped once at around 11 at a service station for a short break. Then at midday we arrived at Heathrow, parked and waited for the shuttle to ferry us to Heathrow tube station. At 12:30 we found the underground after being taken through miles of underground roads. Heathrow seems more like a city than an airport. At around 2 we had reached Plaistow, 29 stations after Heathrow. We were now encouraged, as our prey was finally in sight and becoming a reality and not an elusive dream. We walked out of the station picking up a leaflet telling us how to get to the Royal Victoria Docks and also telling us that there's a bus service. So we crossed the road and waited for the bus, but we all became quickly impatient and so we walked the rest of the way. Mark was hungry, so he stopped off in a chippy for a while. As we got closer to the venue, the roads were closed off and there were barriers to keep people going in the correct direction and to control the crowds, which were nowhere to be seen, and we soon became worried that we were travelling in the wrong direction, but our worries were soon dismissed when we went over a railway bridge and we saw the skyline of the docks, which had become a familiar sight in the press in the last few weeks. Encouraged, we walked even quicker. Then we reached the queue. 4 people thick for the whole length of the dock, which is 1¼ miles long. We reached the end of the queue around 3:30. We then waited another 2½ hours to get into the gate, and I succeeded in being ripped off by 2 imitation programme sellers. Once within the venue, which had been fenced off to prevent those without tickets coming in, we headed towards the official souvenir stands, where I bought the programmes and a t-shirt amongst the hordes of people shouting what they wanted. We went at once to one of the 3 standing enclosures. For the next 2 hours, we had to listen to peculiar tappings emanating from 8 huge amplifiers mounted on the cranes along the dockside. As the deadline of 8 p.m. approached, the grandstands soon filled up to capacity, taking 30,000, and the enclosures became fuller, taking 70,000. Also, a crowd of roughly 500,000 gathered on the opposite side of the Thames. At 8 o'clock precisely, the floodlights were extinguished and a massive roar went up from the crowd. Then a metallic rhythm from Jarre's overture belted out from the amplifiers, while the various lights, lasers and projection lights were switched on. On the buildings opposite, Michel Jarre, Destination Docklands, the London concert, appeared, enthusing the crowd into another cheer of approval. The evening continued with the London skies being seared with fireworks, lights and lasers visible up to 12 miles away, and many people becoming almost deaf due to the loudness of the concert, audible up to 5 miles away. Some of Jarre's best known pieces, such as Equinox 5, Oxygen 4 and The Fourth Rendezvous, were played among 16 pieces and 2.5 hours of his music, long before Stardust Day, when Rendezvous 4 still had a chance. The laser harp was brilliant, with its deep, resonant tone and the lasers being directed over the top of the audience, which was very much appreciated. Then, inevitably, the final piece came, which was The Emigrant, which has a classical air about it. Near the end, a magnificent waterfall erupted from within the dock, and similarly coloured waterfalls cascaded down the front of the 3 main buildings. I should point out that the waterfalls were fireworks. The sight was breathtaking, but it eventually ended. The months of preparation, legal battles and planning had paid off to make it a splendid night, and one that I shall certainly never forget. The crowd began to disperse, the road barriers now coming into use, with the majority of people heading towards West Ham tube station. 1.5 hours after the concert had finished, we actually managed to get a standing place in the tube train. As the journey progressed, I reflected on the atmosphere of the concert and that the council must have found the grandstand to be safe. At last a sitting place was available, but not for long, as we had to change lines in a couple of stations' time. At 1:30 a.m. we changed at Earl's Court and finally reached Heathrow at 2 a.m. By 2:15 we were on the motorway, only stopping for half an hour to dose up on coffee along with many other concert goers. We reached Wareham at around 5 a.m. to drop off the passengers, then to Wool around 5:15 a.m. We got home, went to our rooms feeling very tired, but contented and thinking that it was worth it all, and we all still think the same. The concert was brilliant, despite what a lot of the media said. Now, there's something not new, eh? The media saying something different to what happened. NB, a shortened version of this has been submitted to the school magazine. So there you have it, my memoir of Destination Docklands. As I said in the previous piece relating to the uncertainty of Destination Docklands, if you went along, have particular memories of being at Destination Docklands, did the speaker actually break or didn't it? Leave a comment, and I look forward to interacting with you, because I'm sure if you're watching this, you've probably been into Jarre for a long time, or his music, and I guess even his life, mean enough to you to sit and watch nearly 10 minutes of me talking. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to interacting with you soon. Take care.